In early 2020, I get an idea. I want to get into microvision. The rumors is swirling that microvision might be bought by Microsoft. Stock is currently at 0.21 cents, being a penny stock, and I think why not put in a small risk bet. So I did. I bought microvision at 22 cents. Little did I know that just a few months later I would sell microvision at $2.53, making 10 times the money that I put in. I was super excited, but come a few months and microvision goes all the way up to $21 and some 50 cents where it found its peak. I could have been in a superior position because just a small amount that I put in would have made me more than $1 million easy. Is it possible to do the same trades again? Well, over all these years which I've been into the game of trading, I had several opportunities, been on some journeys, been following stocks too long just to follow down as well. But that is a part of trading. You are listening to the StockInvest.us podcast Trading Tips with Jim as we're heading in to week 13. And as usual, I will tell you what I think will happen in the week ahead of us, give you a little insight about what are the main events for the week. And of course, we will look at the 8 stock tips that I gave last week. I have 8 new, and as usual, we will get back to the $1,000 challenge where I try to grow $1,000 as fast as I can. Last week, it was sitting at $2,954. What is it this week? Well, you just have to stay tuned. And well, remember, if you like this video, make sure to like it and comment. That will help the channel grow. In the week ahead of us, many are betting that we will have yet another rebound week for the markets after many red weeks. People expect markets to be good for the week ahead of us. Nasdaq didn't do very much last week, up 0.17%, while Dow Jones was up 1.2%. But I totally agree, and I said this over and over again, that I think we are for a rebound period. Actually, I increased my personal investments into the stock markets from some 30 to way above 65%. I haven't counted last week's investments, but probably getting even closer to 70% invested into the market because I think there is a short-term upside which I want to use. Last week was not the absolutely best personal week I had. Some stocks went up, but some got hammered. NIO is one of the stocks in my portfolio which got hammered last week. Starting off the week very good, then end of week was not so good. Looking at the chart, we can clearly tell that Nasdaq is bouncing up from being oversold at the relative strength index. I told you that the buy signals were extremely low, and that is usually a good buying opportunity. That's the one indicator maybe I use the most when deciding if to increase or decrease my investments into the market. Because in periods where it is very high risk for a downturn, why sit fully invested? Why not have a few money set aside in the bank and use it when there is an obvious buying opportunity? It makes for higher chance of being successful. Nasdaq is bouncing up from the bottom, currently no resistance, or at least very little resistance up to 19,000 points. Currently sitting at 17,785 points, means there is a fair nice upside. Relative strength index is also moving up from the low position, but from 19,000 there will be tons and tons of resistance, so we need some really solid growth to break that. The main events for the weeks are not many. On Wednesday there will be some looks into durable goods. We have Conference Board Consumer Confidence tomorrow, for instance. Not much, but the expectations is that the consumer confidence will drop from 98.3 to 94.9. And I warned you all last year that the credit card delinquency is increasing. I think I saw a number now that it was 6.9% of all credit card debt is delinquent. It is super high. But these are the results of 4 very, very bad years, pushing spending and borrowing to sky highs. Now we will see how it will affect consumers. And there will be more consumer-related items over the week, because we will have fourth personal consumption, third revision numbers on Thursday. Just seeing, checking if the numbers, because new numbers always come in, so they revise previous numbers. More important will be inflation numbers. We will have a few of them, mainly on Friday, where we will have PCE numbers, and they are expected to come in 0.3% month over month, 2.5% year over year. But inflation is going down, and I think, as I said, I believe inflation will continue downwards. My main argument for this, I argued long before inflation started to rage that inflation would come, and now I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying inflation will go away, and I will not be surprised if we even get into negative territory. Main reason is energy getting cheaper, but last week oil remained at the same at $68, but we are far below the high 70, which were quite some time ago, and I guess you can feel that at the pump and even gas also. So the argument still stands that I believe consumer numbers will struggle a little bit, and that is simply because everyone has stretched their savings, while I believe inflation will go down, and also interest rates. And if we look at the 10-year Treasury yield, which is the one indicator that very, very nicely catches the market, when it goes up, market usually go down. Yeah, there might be a week or two where it doesn't follow, but in general it follows. That one keep falling. It was up at 470.80, now it is at 425 after falling 1.41% last week. So it's going down. It's a good thing. It just means that the long-term investors are betting on 10-year Treasury yield to go down. And if we know the size and the issue of the US debt, and it's not only US, EU is even worse off, and now they want to borrow even more money. But let's focus on US. They have to handle the debt. One of the things that they have to do is try to get the interest rates down, because right now they pay more in interest debts than the entire military budget, plus a lot more. So it is in US interest to get the interest rates down. They can do a lot of things with these things, has to do with the strength of dollar, etc. And given that scenario where they will try to get interest rates down, pushing inflation down, etc., get interest rates down, stock market usually thrive, because money will go from where it's the highest yield. Right now you can have 5, 6, 7% in the bank, so why risk money in the stock market? Well, that might just change. As you know, I was deeply into gold, but chose to sell my gold position a few weeks ago. I got out just above $2,950. Currently gold is sitting at $3,029, being up 1.49%. With all the mess and the fuss around the world, of course people will go into secure items, gold being one of them. And as I said, I will not be surprised if gold goes to 3,500. But I have a feeling that the long-term picture is very, very good. And in that picture, gold will not be as attractive as it has been it will lower. Will I be right? Will I be wrong? I don't know right now, due to me living in a European country and converting my sales to euro and dollar weakening. Actually, I am still in a slight profit, even though gold went up, because my cash is sitting in euro. But hopefully, if you are a gold investor, we will continue to see gold up. But my personal view is that we might just be at the top of gold for now. But people will look at where to place their money with high potential. Limited resources is very important. That is one thing about gold. There is not insane amount of golds to be dug out. It's a limited resources, and when it's limited, it means that it cannot inflate production by any mean. Another thing which is not gold but digital is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also a limited resource. Bitcoin fell from 100,000, passing 100,000 down to 80,000. As you know, I bought quite much Bitcoin over the years, picking up every time it's falling down. It picked up a little bit now when it was down at some 80. Happy to see that it's on the rise again. And if money are to flow out from gold over to, for instance, Bitcoin or other items, there is an insane upside in, especially maybe Bitcoin. Enough about crypto, you have to make up your own mind, but I have a risk portfolio in crypto. So far in a strong plus, because I bought very cheap and I've used the chance every time it dips to get in a little more. Currently down, of course, from the previous highs, but I believe there will be new highs. And if you follow the podcast, you will know, because I will tell you. Anyway, as I said, oil $68, gold $3,029, 10-year treasury at 425. These numbers are good, I would say. Before I tell you the buy and sell signals, here are some quarter results coming out for the week, only the most important ones. Today will be Dragonfly and Oklo. Tomorrow will be much more interesting for anyone who loves stock trading and been onto some of these trains going up and down. GameStop will come tomorrow. Expected move plus minus 7.8% for GameStop, so it should be a quite volatile day for GameStop tomorrow. Rumble will also come, 6.46%. Expected change for Rumble tomorrow. Not much on Wednesday. There will be $3 coming out, and Thursday will be Lululemon, and that's more or less it. From the buy and the sell signals, we can tell that 27% is showing buy signals across all the stocks that we analyze worldwide, up from 24. 27 is just in the middle of the tree. Nasdaq still very low. Only 9% of the stocks at Nasdaq is flashing buy signals. I take this as a good sign. The logic, and you may be a new listener, so just feel me if you heard it before, but this is greed and fear. When the fear is too high, it flips to greed, and we start to get buys, because when there is almost no buy signals left, the only thing that can happen is for it to go down. Yes, it can stay low for quite a long time. It has, because it's been 8 in week 10. It was 10. Week 11 and 12 it was 8, and now it is 9 at Nasdaq. A super buying signal. The last time I absolutely made very nice increase into my personal portfolio. When was I bought Nasdaq at 7% buy signals? That was an insane nice upturn. Now I hope to see some of the same coming. New York Stock Exchange 21 up from 20 last week. Even London is up 26 from 23. Frankfurt stays at the same at 28% buy signals, while Tokyo is up at 45, and Shenzhen China is down from 54 to 35. National Stock Exchange is maybe the one doing the most this week, up from only 7% buy signals to 28. The National Stock Exchange of India was doing super good for a long period. One stock after the other going up, then it hit a downturn after peaking, but now it looks like also National Stock Exchange of India is on a return. Focus will be Nasdaq. Nasdaq only 9% buy signals, tells me there is a possible upside. And that, my friends, make for 8 stocks of the week. Last week, I said that flashing buy signals from a newly built system, which I'm tuning, by the way. This is very, very important. I'm tuning this. I didn't have much time last week to tune it. Sorry about that. But hopefully this week I will be able to continue to tune it to make it better and better. Last week, 6 out of 8 stocks went in plus. What about this week? I said that SME Group was giving buy signals. Scilab, Semileds, Okta, Chromadex, Vertex Pharmaceuticals, Gossamer, and Interdigital was giving buy signals. The results are in. If you bought these on Monday, sold them on Friday, you would have made money in 4 out of the 8 stocks. And while Nasdaq was able to climb 0.17%, the average of these 8 stocks had a loss of 0.19. But here are the individual results. And remember, I do not count any stop losses in this case. I'm just looking purely at what happens during the week from the beginning to the end of the week. When you trade stocks, you put a stop loss, so it's natural thing that you will not, for instance, go into a 9.46% loss, which was the biggest loss, and it was in Scilab biotech company. SME Group did again go up. It's the 3rd week that SME Group has been as buy signals was up 0.86%. So you could have kept it all 3 weeks because it was in for all 3 weeks. Semileds was the best gainer, up 10.9% for Semilabs, going from 188 on Monday to 211 close on Friday. Okta Inc. was up 0.667%, while Chromadex was up 0.51%. Vertex Pharmaceuticals was down 0.4%, while Gossamer was down 4.32%. Interdigital Software was down 0.37%. So if you had bought all 8 stocks on Monday at opening, sold them on Friday, you would be sitting with a loss of 0.19%, where 4 of the stocks was up. Not much to celebrate. What about this week? Will we be able to get better results this week? Well, here are 8 stocks for the week. On top is Royal Gold, which was, if you remember, was back 2 weeks ago. Made only 0.36%, but Royal Gold is back, currently sitting around 157, flashing buy signals for the week ahead. Then there is UP Fintech, or ticker TIGR on the YouTube video. If you're listening to this on the YouTube or the video version, I will post the tickers, maybe a little bit easier. Flashing buy signals, it's financial services, currently sitting at $8.86. Then there is Root Inc. Insurance Company, ROOT, which also been in our portfolio. Last time was 2 weeks ago, and it made 14.3% last time it was in. Now it is back because it's flashing buy signals again. Currently sitting around $160. And last time it flashed, it was $130, so just continued upwards. Then there is Adapus Health, a biotech company, ADPT, currently sitting at $8.4. There is CDXC, which was last week, Biogen Bioscience, biotech company, currently sitting at $7.8. Didn't do much last week because it was, let's see where it was. It was up 0.51% last week. Currently still flashing buy signals. Then there is Vodafone. Most people probably heard about Vodafone, a telecom company, VOD. Gossamer continues to be in, because it's flashing buy signals despite falling 4.3% last week. It is still flashing buy signals high up on the list. Currently you can buy it at 1.39. The last company will be IDCC, which also was last week, lost 0.37% last week, but is still high up on the buy signal list. You can buy it around $217. So that was 8 stocks: Royal Gold, UP Fintech, Root, Adapus Health, Biagen Bioscience, Vodafone, Gossamer, and Interdigital. 8 stocks that all are flashing buy signals. And I will tell you next week how it went. You will have all the details, and I will tell you what I have changed in the system to optimize this. Last part of today's podcast, and I hope you enjoyed it so far, is of course the $1,000 challenge. And you know that I have been in NIO for a long time. NIO was again running last week in the early week, but Friday came quarter results and NIO fell all the way to 450 close. And I still in NIO, and I will remain in NIO, but I do not like the situation as is, because now we have the quarter results and NIO was losing a little bit more money than expected. They increased the vehicle sales, and these are the most important things because NIO have a huge cash balance, but the loss was deeper. They are just fighting about market shares. That's how they do it. They try to get as much market shares, and then they do all the after sales, and they have the structure, the system in place for when they start to tweak things into money making. And volume is also in such thing that it reduces. The more volume, it usually reduces cost. It comes when you have to add a new factory, you have this jump in sunk cost, the cost that you have to put in for your production, but eventually volume enables you to do cheaper in most cases. I believe in NIO, still staying in NIO. The $1,000 portfolio fell back to $2,573.92. NIO, which was bought at 5.10, currently sitting at 11.76%. I believe we have to have a very good week to just pull NIO along with the rest of it. Otherwise, it will still be a waiting game, and that's not what we wanted in this $1,000 challenge, where we try to grow $1,000 as fast as we can. I will start to have to look for maybe possible other candidates, so this do not turn into too long game. But look at the chart of NIO. Everything is indicating that NIO has found a bottom, but it just needs the perfect time to go up. And that brings me to the very beginning. I told you I bought Microvision at 21 cents, sold it at over 250, made 10 times my money just to see it go up to $21. NIO will not be this case. It will not go anywhere close to that. It will not be the same case. But my gut still tells me that there is a huge upside in NIO. I put in strong part of my portfolio in NIO, and as you know, I also bought Tesla. I bought Tesla at $239 two weeks ago, and I believe it's $247 now, and I believe Tesla will just continue upwards. For those who are worried about Tesla brand, remember Tesla is also making more things than just cars, and this will be the items of the year. Anyway, we'll see who is right. You just have to follow. You will know everything because I will tell you. More than giving you advices, there is one thing I really hope for, and that is that your week will be a good week. I hope that your portfolio will be much greener by the end of the week. I hope you will have a beautiful Monday, a good start of the week. And of course, I hope that you will be back when I will be back next week. Until then, just have a super week. Bye.
Welcome to StockInvest.US Stock Analysis. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.US. By using the information, you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.